from this. You believe you're black, I believe I'm black, and black is unity. Oh, say what is black? Is it color or it's an art? How is a feeling from the heart that makes you smart? So legalize the black, make we do what we want. The revelation day is come. So take religion of what we are, is what we are. And keep a black man's skin so pure, cause in the books, spirituality of black is true. And another day can stop the truth, for real is real. So wanna spliff again, make we frost and establish. Hoping for sunshine on the way. Ghana youth cannot reverse. Say man a real black star, not joke with a boy like this. Whoa, beautiful blackie. Beautiful, black is beautiful. Beautiful blackie, oh yeah. Beautiful blackie, yeah. Beautiful blackie, yeah. Beautiful blackie, oh yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Say what is black? Tell me again, cause the black is black. Just like a pearl in a woman's eye. So I want to tell you what I know about the black. I am black and I am proud, cause nobody go proud fire. Say black is beautiful, brother. Don't you see? Say I am black and I am proud, cause nobody go proud for me. Say smile for me. Say black it. What you know? I may say black magic is real magic. The truth of life lies in the pyramids. Egyptians with a real vision. Say you can't buy without black money. Say last year I bless the roots. So black mindset could have made the rules. So don't be fooled, for black is good. I'ma tell you, say that one more time. Whoa. How do they? I was the black is beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Whoa. Big up from the self, you know. Don't know what we done, I'm going through. Straight black for life. How do they?
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. City TV, it's your world.
It is a beautiful Monday morning. We're
Yes.
so happy you can join us on Breakfast Daily.
Yeah, indeed. The week ahead looks promising.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the weekend was great as
Amazing.
well.
What did you do this weekend?
Oh, I was here.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
Busy weekend. But, of course, I mean, if you enjoy what you do, you have so
you
much
love
fun
it.
doing it. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being with us. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. My name is Dziffa, Akua, Ametam.
And my name is Tuffour Boateng.
Now it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily to contribute to the conversation.
All right, you can also send in your messages via the WhatsApp number 0550585832. If you're watching from outside Ghana, please use the country code +233.
Now, every morning we start the show with our quote of the day, so we take a look at our quote.
If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. This morning's quote is from Napoleon Hill. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. That's a quote from Napoleon Hill. And then, of course, this goes to encourage, to motivate, and to inspire the bunch of us, because you might not necessarily be able to do something big at a go, but of course if you're able to do it one step at a time, then cumulatively you are looking at a successful project. And so if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way.
I completely agree, because sometimes when we think of even leaders, we're thinking of this big person, you know, this bigger than life individual that we can't all be like. But then if you look within wherever it is you are, if you're a street sweeper and you can sweep the streets better than anyone else, I think it's Martin Luther King who even said this, or you're a hair braider and you braid the hair to a point where every single time, no matter where you are, your customers will find you. Wherever it is you find yourself, you focus on making that space a little brighter with the effort you put in, then you'll be just fine. Yeah,
I think there's always room for exception. So you can always stand out in whatever field it is that you are in. Everybody might be doing the activity or the process the same way, but you can go a step further, innovate, add on to it, and then that'll be you doing great small things in a great way. And then, I mean, who knows, 5 years to come, you'll be the big shot that you've always wanted to be.
Exactly, especially in this coronavirus time where a lot of people are losing their jobs. People are having to change gears. So if from childhood you've been thinking about being a doctor, you're thinking about being a lawyer, you've had this fixed perception of whatever it is your career is supposed to be, and all of a sudden you're not being identified as that person anymore. It might be difficult to actually change your mind to say, okay, what else can I do? Where can I look, right? And there's nothing wrong with starting over. There's nothing wrong with starting something new and building as you go, because there's a lot of growth in there. There's a lot of things to learn, and always look at the positive side. The fact that you will walk away learning a new skill, becoming a better person, not what you don't have, not all the great things that other people have that you don't have, but the little things you have in control that you can leverage to get to where you need to be.
That's true. I mean, take advantage of the situations as they come. I mean, in every problem, the problem itself provides an opportunity for you to prefer a solution. And that is quite a score, that there are points that you can score there. If there is a challenge like we're facing now with the coronavirus, sit back, be innovative about it, think through it. I'm sure definitely you're going to pick one thing out of it that can propel you to different or greater heights. And so it's beautiful, just like Napoleon Hill is telling us this morning. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way, and definitely your name will be out there in the annals of a history. Dziffa, over the weekend, coronavirus cases shot up again. The figures went up, and we're recording 607 new cases of coronavirus. The unfortunate thing is that the number of deaths also went up, and so currently we're looking at 148 deaths recorded in the country, so 677. So obviously we are nearing the 30,000 mark. Now we're being told that these results are from samples taken between June 22 and July 15. And so it should tell you that this has been part of the backlog that has been at the various testing centers, and still begs the question, why are we not testing as much as we used to?
Well, I heard now that we have some 50,000 new test kits, which is great news. But I mean, we're a developing country. We don't have the resources that other countries have. What we do have in our control is our ability to comply.
Yeah.
Because we've seen countries with all the resources in the world, but their citizenry are so stubborn that they end up placing so much pressure on the healthcare system.
That's true.
We have compliance within our control. We can choose to say, I'm not going to go to that restaurant that's not observing social distancing. I'm not going to go to that registration center where there's not enough space for me to distance myself from somebody else. We need to take back the power because we really don't have any other option if we're being honest with ourselves. We don't have enough resources to go around. We don't have enough healthcare workers to take care of all of us if we fall sick. And we still have to keep going. There are people in this country who won't survive after a day if they don't go out to hustle. And if they don't go out to hustle, they can't bring in money for their family. So we need to put that power back into our hands to say when it comes to not increasing the number of positives, we have a role to play as individuals.
Yeah, but think about it. You protecting yourself is an act of kindness towards the next person. You protecting yourself is an act of respect for the next person. And of course, you protecting yourself is you ensuring general safety for the populace. And so it reduces the burden on the health workers, reduces the burden on the health facilities as well. And talking about the burden, now we're being told that the current burden is being lessened because the active cases now are within the region of 4,000. I'm thinking the figure should be here somewhere, 4,270 active cases. Now we're being told to propagate that as good news as against the cumulative number of cases that we have recorded, the 27,000. Comparatively, yes, it looks good. We're having a total case count of 27,000 plus, but the active cases out of this 27,000 is just around 4,000. It looks good. But then again, do we have the facilities? Do we have the personnel to manage this 4,000 plus? What are we doing to ensure that we do not see a spike in the number of active cases as we have it? Are we going to improve the testing regime? Because now we're being told that some 50,000 PCR test kits have been distributed nationwide. If this should go up, and we're doing the aggressive testing again, then obviously the numbers are going to go up. So if you're telling us now that the current number of active cases does not really overwhelm the facilities and personnel we have, if we begin the aggressive testing again, are we prepared for the figures that will come out of there?
And that's my thing, because I mean, this whole issue, we have to look at it holistically. You can't say, don't look at the positive cases. A couple of months ago, we were proudly, talking about how we were one of the highest testing countries on the continent. We were always saying we were at the top. Why is it now that we don't want to say it anymore? Do you get me? Yes, of course, the cases are going to go up because we are testing. Now, the people who have recovered / discharged, there are people who have their reservations about that as well. So when you look at the numbers, 27,667 people testing positive, and you compare that to the early days of March, where we had what?
Just about
2, 4, 8. No one would think we will get this far. Granted, we are more privileged than other African countries because we even have the resources to test to find out. The discovery / discharge cases, 23,247. There's 49. Sorry, there's a process you have to go through to get here. What we are saying is, let's not even act recklessly to get into testing positive before we get into that number of discovered / discharge, because no matter how we want to look at it, a certain percentage of people are losing their lives.
That's true.
There are people in this country who perhaps they are diabetic, they could have been able to manage it for 10, 20, 30 years if coronavirus had not come.
Exactly.
So we have to talk about these things and beg all of you guys to please comply. we've started the second phase of the fumigation
Even before we go into it, I think on the coronavirus itself, one angle we are not really hammering is the cost involved in treating a patient.
Until they are discharged.
Exactly, until they are discharged. Now, cumulatively, 27,000 plus people supposedly treated and discharged. How much did it cost to treat one person times the 27,000 plus, and how much of a toll is it taking on the finances of the country?
Not just treating them, actually finding them, tracing them, testing and treating. It's expensive. We need to put a price to that so people can know that this is monies that we could have invested elsewhere, but we are pumping it into keeping you safe. You can't continue to act reckless, and we need to start finding people who deliberately put themselves in harm's way, because they are becoming a burden onto all of us.
All of us, yes. So
anyway,
yeah,
fumigation of markets.
Yeah, very important move there, because you remember that prior to all this, there was the very first phase where over 2,000 markets nationwide were disinfected, and now the second phase has been launched. The government, in partnership, of course, with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, launched the first phase. That's on Sunday, and so the fumigation exercise commenced in Accra. Obviously, it's going to go through all 16 regions of the country, and so all the markets within the various metropolitan, municipal, district assemblies in the Greater Accra region have received their fair share. This looks like the Onion Market at Agbobloshi. That's one of the markets that the team visited yesterday. We also saw them at Kandishi. We saw them in Accra Central, the Okaishi area, the Kantamantu area, the Mokola area. So yes, the disinfection is a step in the right direction. And this time we understand they're using the chlorine solution, which is expected to kill viruses and bacteria.
And I saw drones and all kinds of other materials.
Because if you look at the structure or the make of our markets, it's not every corner that the individual or the human sprayers can enter. And so if there are drones, then the drones are able to spray all these corners, and so we are sure of a good job done.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, and no matter where you are or who you are, you will always end up in our marketplaces. Even if it's your house girl, your house boy going to shop, you don't want them to go pick up something and bring it back into their homes. So it's a relief that even the market women are complying, they are doing what they can. Last week we fumigated Akua Girls Senior High School. We're doing it at our marketplaces. I would like to see even some workspaces begin to say that we're cleaning out, because historically we are always used to cleaning what we can see with our physical eyes. How do we get rid of the rats? How do we get rid of the roaches? But now we're talking about microorganisms that you cannot see with your naked eyes. You might have something on your table, a customer will come, touch that table, and take whatever it is back home with them. So I think there's a silver lining in all this coronavirus experience. Once this is over, we'll learn how to be a bit clean, right, as far as our market spaces are concerned. Wash our hands thoroughly. Before coronavirus, people will even go to chop bars and won't wash their hands with soap because they think the food won't taste good if they have the soap on. All sorts of things that are not good. So there are great habits that we're picking up as far as personal hygiene is concerned that I hope we sustain post-COVID. Yeah,
it's good. So on your screens is one of the markets. This looks like the Kanishi market, where the team visited also yesterday. Now, the Kanishi markets, you know, they have an indoor one, and then, of course, some traders have spilled onto the pavements where they've set up shop and are trading there. And so all these spaces were fumigated yesterday. Now, one thing that is very, very important for us to drum home is the fact that the markets is more or less one of the most likely places where you can pick up the virus, because the markets do get crowded, and there's no point denying that fact. The place does get crowded, and so if human nature won't allow us to observe the social distancing, then of course it is important that we go into such places, spray fumigate, disinfect some of these places and reduce the risk of transfer of the virus. Now, this is where it's all begun, at the Independence Square, where the launch was done in the early hours of Sunday. Now, if you watching this footage, you would see some service personnel there. The military was on hand to support, and of course the police as well, although the actual work was being done by staff from Waste Management Company Limited, Zoom Lion. Now, one innovative thing you're seeing, that aside the drones, they've brought these canonizers, these heavy-duty fumigators or sprayers, if you like, installed on trucks. So these can shoot long distances. So when they go out there, they could actually park and then spray into the holes, or if you like, the various corners of these markets. And I think it's very, very innovative, and Zoom Lion should be applauded for this effort, partnering the state to fumigate or to disinfect our markets. And the thing is, it's not even ending at the markets. We understand that some public spaces will also be disinfected and fumigated as well. And so phase 2 of the National Disinfection or Fumigation exercise launched yesterday, expected to go around the entire country, all 16 regions, to benefit from the fumigation and disinfection of markets, done by, of course, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, together with the Ministry of Sanitation, Water Resources, and in partnership with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited.
I think this is just a great, great relief, and I look forward to more partnerships like that as far as the supply of soap, the supply of constant running water in certain areas in the country, so that we know that as far as preparation is concerned, we've cleaned our environment, we've distributed enough soap, hand sanitizers, face masks, and other resources that will help people really prevent contracting the disease, because I think it's easier to prevent than it is to cure. So let's focus more on prevention. If you're a business and you can focus more on, supplying soap as part of your corporate social responsibility, please do that. If you're a business and you can focus on supplying face masks, let's do that. And of course, one of the things that have really bothered me over the years is the fact that a lot of our marketplaces are crowded. And especially now that we're talking about coronavirus and social distancing, it will be nice to see people deliberately complying. You want to buy onion, you're not going, the onions, they're not going to run out if you patiently wait for one person to get their onion before you go. If you see someone who does not have a face mask, use that as an opportunity to educate them that, hey, I know you might think everyone is safe, but we are not safe. If you are a seller yourself, if our market women and men in our marketplaces begin to implement these things, you will see that customers would move towards the trader who's complying by these protocols. Let's begin to deliberately go to traders who have actually ensured that if a customer is coming to me, even if it's a chalk that I've used to draw something on the floor, and I know this is difficult to do. I mean, if you think of a place like Makola, as a trader yourself, you don't have much space to begin with. This is why I think perhaps maybe AMA should come in to help. We need to figure out how to space out properly.
In some markets, after the very first phase of the disinfection exercise, some markets were closed down, and then a shift system was introduced. So, I mean, originally you have, say, tomato sellers on one stretch, and there are about 10 women selling tomatoes. These 10 can be split into 2. So 5 can come to the market, say Monday, and then the other 5 can come on Tuesday. Yeah. So in some markets actually implemented this strategy, and we even made fun of them saying that they were doing that of the free SHS people, doing the gold track and the red track and all that.
But it was brilliant.
But exactly. I mean, in some places, say Tema, if you go to Tema, so the main community one market, they've split the traders into 2. So there are some who are within the market, and then they've moved some to there's this park at community 7, which is very, very big. The assembly has put up some tents, and so the traders are underneath it, and it's beautiful. When you get there, you actually see that there's enough room, and so social distancing is actually being observed. I mean, it goes a long way
even
to keep the spread.
Too, some market women in Nima market were doing exactly that. So I think we need to bring back that conversation, and we need to provide some sort of positive reinforcement so that the market women will know that these are the benefits. Because historically, we have situations where even trotro drivers, the people who are supposed to stay inside and do the right things, customers will go on the roadside and board the trotros on the roadside, which does not make sense. So if you see someone actually inside the market, complying by the social distancing protocols, go to that person to buy from them. If we all send our monies that way, the rest of the market people will see that let me not do the wrong thing. Let me not stand by this place where the space is so small. I will expose my customers to the virus. Let me also go inside and do the right thing. That way, whoever it is you're sending to the market, be it your niece, be it your houseboy, your house girl, you know that the possibility of them contracting the virus there is very low, because the market women are doing the best they can to protect all of us. This is something that the government can't do on its own. Health workers can do on their own. Police can fight on their own. We all have to come together,
collective responsibility,
to do the little we can to save ourselves.
I agree. I mean, take your safety personal. Think about it as salvation. Make it personal. But in doing so, know that in you protecting yourself, you're protecting the next person as well. Let us fight this battle together. Wear the mask. Wash your hands under running water with soap regularly. Practice social distancing. And if you do not have to go out, please stay home and stay safe. You're still watching Breakfast Daily on City TV. Remember to use the hashtag Breakfast Daily.
Yes, and the WhatsApp line is 0550585832. We have a packed show for you guys this morning. Akosia Konedu Yiradon will be coming to talk to us about what's going on in the nutrition world. We're also going to make quinoa. If you don't know quinoa, we're gonna mix it up with some interesting stuff, and we're gonna take a look at Keyboard Idol as well. But before all of that, we have our news review, so don't go anywhere. My name is Dziffa Ametam.
And my name is Tuffour Boateng.
We'll be right back.
Do you know that the Electoral Commission is undertaking the compilation of a new voters register this year? So we will register again?
Every Ghanaian citizen of 18 years and above and of sound mind, ordinarily resident in an electoral area, is eligible to register.
What steps will be taken to ensure the safety of the applicants?
Every applicant must wear a face mask before entering the registration center. No face mask, no entry. You will wash your hands with soap under running water. Your temperature will be checked, while you maintain a minimum distance of 1 meter while in a queue. Your finger will be checked for an electoral stain to know if you've already registered before being sanitized. Your data will be captured on Form 1A. You will provide the officer with your residential address, your GPS address, your hometown address, your town and district, as well as the full names of your parents, dead or alive. Then you will be sent to the data entry clerk. The clerk will sanitize the scanner before capturing your fingerprints. He will then type your details into the biometric system, take your picture, and print the Form 1C and give it to you with the Form 1A. You will thumbprint the Form 1A in front of the laminating clerk. Then the clerk will cut out the card parts of the Form 1C. Then laminate your new voter's ID card for you. Your finger will be dipped in an indelible ink. Hand sanitizers will be provided before you leave the registration center.
When are you going to register?
Daddy, I registered during the last electoral exercise, so I won't register again.
Don't you know that this is a total replacement of the old voters register? It means if you have registered before, you have to register again.
Hey.
You will need either a passport or your national ID card to register. If you don't have a passport or a national ID card, you must provide 2 already registered people to stand as your guarantors.
What about your mother who's too old to join the queue?
Vulnerable, persons with disability, older adults, pregnant and lactating mothers are not left out. Download the Voters Registration Form 1A from the Electoral Commission website www.ec.gov.gh. Print it, fill it out, and bring it along with your passport, national ID card, or 2 guarantors to the district office of the Electoral Commission or to the registration center to register. Note that only the vulnerable, the aged, pregnant and lactating mothers will be allowed to print out their form online and bring it to the district office or the registration center.
Register to vote. Your vote is your power.
You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. It's time for the news review segment, and of course we want to hear from you, and so use the hashtag Breakfast Daily on all social media handles, and of course send your WhatsApp messages in via the number 0550585832. If you're watching from outside Ghana, use the country code +233. A number of topics making the headlines this morning, so quickly we're going to run through them. Let me start off with the daily graphic. Very packed today. Front page says PPP elects national executive. COVID-19 testing enhanced. Logistics procured. This is attributed to the information minister. But of course, the major story for the day, WASI begins today. And then President resumes work today, wishes WASI candidates well. Electoral Commission 2020 voter registration exercise movement plan, phase 4. And then you have local government ministry and Zoom Lion disinfect 1,000 markets nationwide. Details of all these stories in the daily graphic. Let's do Ghanaian Times now. WASI begins today. 313,837 SHS students write final exams. WASI begins today. 313,837 SHS students write final exams. NLA warns public against social media lotto fraudsters. NLA warns public against social media lotto fraudsters. 90 former workers drag Coca-Cola to Labour Commission. 90 former workers drag Coca-Cola to Labour Commission. President resumes work at Jubilee House today after 2-week self-isolation. And second phase nationwide disinfection and fumigation exercise begins. That's the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Let's do the Finder newspaper. Receiver to pay 151.8 million Ghana cedis to 5,637 ex-staff of collapsed microfinance, savings and loans companies. Receiver to pay 151.8 million cedis to 5,637 ex-staff of collapsed microfinance, savings and loans companies. COVID-19 active cases declining. COVID-19 active cases declining. This is attributed to the Ghana Health Service. Oforiatta must reconcile government IMF economic data. This is former Finance Minister Seth Tekbe speaking. Oforiatta must reconcile government IMF economic data. President wishes SHS finalists good luck as WASI begins today. And EC registers over 7.2 million eligible applicants in 16 days. That's the front page of the Finder newspaper. Let's go online, citynewsroom.com, and check out some of the stories there. This one says, account for funds secured for COVID-19 interventions. Account for funds secured for COVID-19 interventions. Tekbe to government. That's the former finance minister there. Now, another story also on the citynewsroom.com. Senior Minister Safo Marfo test negative in second COVID-19 test. So some good news there for the senior minister. Mid-year budget to prioritize support for SMEs, industries affected by COVID-19, and this is attributed to the finance minister. We can take one more story, and this one says GBC workers to petition NMC today over reduction of TV channels. GBC workers to petition NMC today over reduction of TV channels. Akua resumes work today after 2-week isolation. Akua resumes work today after 2-week isolation. Let's go on for some business stories, and we're taking these off the citybusinessnews.com. Tekbe again, it says account for funds secured for COVID-19 interventions. That story also on the citynewsroom.com. Let's get some more business stories. Government must review petroleum agreements in mid-year budget. Government must review petroleum agreement in mid-year budget. This is attributed to COPEC. Hotels and restaurants urged to serve local poultry to boost industry. Hotels and restaurants urged to serve local poultry to boost industry. Now, over 500,000 stickers issued electronically through motor insurance database. And this is attributed to the NIC, the National Insurance Commission. Our buyers have reduced patronage due to COVID-19. Ghana Commodity Exchange lamenting there. Our buyers have reduced patronage due to COVID-19. That's attributed to the Ghana Commodity Exchange. We can do My Joy online for some more local news. This one says, don't be intimidated by military. Go and register. That's former President Mahama to residents of the Volta region. Don't be intimidated by military. Go and register. Mahama to Volta region. You can get some international news from the BBC.com. BBC.com, and there are some stories out there. We can do Africa Live. Africa Live says Nigerian foreign minister tests positive for COVID-19. So that's off the BBC.com. And so for more news, you can check out citynewsroom.com, where you get all the updates making the rounds, the news, and all the information, of course, on all the top stories. And then, of course, you can get your business stories from citybusinessnews.com. We're going to go straight into the discussions now. And to help us do that, we have Elvis Dako. He is the editor of the Finder newspaper, and of course we have Mr. Kwame Jantua, a lawyer and former vice chair of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC. Very, very interesting stories there this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. You're welcome to the show.
Morning.
Right, interesting stories. Oh, I'm great. Had a long weekend, but
really?
Yeah. So much to do.
Started on Friday or started on Saturday?
So the work kept piling from Friday throughout to Sunday night. So yes. But we're here. We thank God for life.
Thank God for life.
So we're starting straight off with COVID, and of course we'd like to pick some stories there. That's of the president resuming work, and of course his message to the students who are beginning their examinations today. I want to take this story from page 20 of the Daily Graphic newspaper, which says President resumes work today. story is by Doreen Andor, and I read, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is expected to resume out-of-home work today after being in isolation for 14 days. The president has been in self-isolation since July 4, 2020. Now, speaking at a national COVID-19 update briefing in Accra yesterday, the Minister of Information, Mr. Kojo Oponkroma, said the president will attend to business from and out of his office at the Jubilee House from Monday. He said the president had tested negative after the 14-day precautionary self-isolation. And so, good news there for the president. We can also tie in that of the senior minister, whom we understand has now tested negative after initially testing positive for the virus. Mr. Janto, I'll start off with you. The first gentleman of the land, fortunately for us, has come out of his 14-day isolation negative and not having the virus. Now he's back. He was working from home or from the presidential villa, but now he's back to man fully the affairs of the country. What does this mean to the coronavirus fight?
When you say what does it mean to the coronavirus fight, we cannot afford our president to be infected with COVID-19. Nor can we accept any of our leaders, leaders being parliament, leaders being the judiciary, leaders being country statesmen, and on a larger scale, the people. So it's a good thing that President Akufo-Addo has been able to test negative, and he's back at the helm of affairs. But don't forget, he was still at the helm of affairs, although he was in isolation. And so it's a good thing. We just hope that going forward he would be protected. He won't have to go into isolation again. And he's just got to take care of himself. You see, the challenge with our elderly statesmen is the fact of their age. And you know, if he has comorbidity situations, then they're in for a very difficult time. But there was something that is very interesting when the Minister of Information, Kojo Oponkroma, gave his, I think it was a presser.
Yesterday.
And he indicated that we're going to resume testing, large scale, which is tremendous.
I understand there are some 50,000 PCR test kits distributed nationwide
and
now.
The thing is that we need to fight this COVID-19. I mean, this weekend, I had a small cough. I felt cold. The thing scared me, you know, and I just put myself in a situation where even if you're being told that you don't have it, but isolate, the kind of, you know, mindset that you go through. So it's a good thing, and I hope we won't hear that any of our leaders are infected again. And also the
senior minister.
He's also of age, and hopefully now that he's proven negative, it will be good. But the challenge here is that how can they stop themselves from being infected? Because they're always in the front line.
That's true.
They're always on the front line, always on the front line. And so they need to be able, or the handlers of our leaders need to be able to craft the system. And you know, the people too don't understand it. COVID or no COVID, when the president goes somewhere, they all want to.
Everybody wants to
exactly. So it is something that we should be able to manage it and balance it well, so that none of our leaders fall into this kind of COVID arena.
Right. Elvis, how much of a morale booster is this to the fight? The president comes out of 14-day isolation. Senior minister tests negative now after initially testing positive. And the fact that now we're going to resume, for want of a better word, the aggressive testing again.
Well, I think for the president, he just set the example for all of us that in case you come into contact with somebody who is positive, even before your sample is taken or you are tested, it's in your own interest to self-isolate.
True.
It's in your own interest to self-isolate. So self-isolation is so important to your health if you have the knowledge that you have come into contact with a COVID-19 positive patient. And I think that's the message I want everybody to take from the president's example.
Yeah.
You don't say, until I've tested positive, I'll continue mingling with people and doing all that I want. What if by the time results come, you are positive? All the people you have co-mingled with will now also have to go and test.
Yeah.
It increases the burden on testing. And if you are not lucky, you might even have infected your own close relatives and friends.
Yeah.
So let's all learn from what the president has done. If you have the message that you had contact with anybody that has tested positive, first thing you should do is to call the team for testing. And while waiting for them to come, self-isolate on your own whilst you wait for them to come and take your sample to go and test. That is a very good way of helping to fight COVID. So I think that's the message we should take from them. Right. I think senior minister with his age, if he's tested negative, is good news. But what it says and what the message from the senior ministers test, everybody must understand is that when COVID is found early, irrespective of age or even underlying conditions, it's likely you survive it. Exactly. It's about early detection of the disease. Yeah. And I'm very sure that probably government officials who are the front line might be taking weekly tests to ensure that when they get it, it will easily be identified and quickly addressed. So for as many that think that they're having some of these symptoms that miss the disease condition, the first thing you should think about is test. Yeah. People are afraid when they hear the word test. If you tell friends that I'm going to test for COVID, they all start running away from you. And that's the stigma. You have not had contact with anybody who has tested positive. But if you are feeling uncomfortable, you tell you, the way I'm feeling, I want to go and take COVID test. Yeah. Now everybody starts running away from the mere mention that I want to go and take COVID test. Everybody starts running away from it. And I think that that's a very dangerous way of fighting the disease. Yeah. If you continue to behave like that, we can't fight the disease. Sure. If you are afraid to test, by the time it's identified, you may be at the stage of hospitalization and you may not survive it. So early testing is important. Let's not run away when the word test for COVID is mentioned. Let's gladly accept that if we think that we have symptoms that meet the disease condition, we should be looking for a test. And now that the government has brought in a lot of test kits, you should be happy to say, I want to take a test. Yeah. Personally, I've told people, if the test kits are available and the facilities, no pressure, I will want to take a test every week. So that if I should contract it, it can be detected early. And I'll be treated. Yeah. And for me, that is the most important thing. Right. And wrapping up testing is the key. One of the successes that we are enjoying, while we are not having a lot of people being hospitalized, is our earlier decision to begin to test and do contact tracing, do the right things from the beginning. It's one of the reasons a lot of people did not fall sick before we identified them. So it's important that these things have come. We must all be confident and say, look, COVID is like malaria or any other thing. If it's identified early, I'll survive. If you keep malaria with you and you get to a very difficult stage, you can lose your life. And malaria has killed a lot of people in this country because they did not seek treatment early. It's not different from what COVID is doing to us. Early treatment, early identification and treatment is key. So let's all embrace testing. That if we are even to be tested once every week, we should be happy to say we will offer ourselves for testing.
All right. Now,
just a minute. Your first comment with regards to going by the president's example. It's so difficult. How do you do it? Look, go down here just now. I think that's a registration center down there. Go and see how close people are standing, how people are standing around. How do you educate the individual to understand what you're saying? That's the fight. That's the difficult.
I mean, but there's always going to be a challenge. But at the end of the day, it's up to you, the individual.
That is why we shouldn't have a false sense of I'm wearing a mask, so I'm safe. It's so dangerous. The experts will tell that irrespective of the fact that you're wearing, especially cloth mask, yes, you need to. It has to go with social distancing. So don't have a false sense of security because you're wearing a cloth mask.
This mind is how do we educate them? How do they get to know?
No, that's the challenge. That's the point. Education, I've always said it. You see, sometimes when we speak in English, we think everybody understands.
Yeah.
I believe that it is only when we do aggressive education in the local languages of the people that the people will understand. That's why I'm saying that the press conference yesterday by the ministry was good, because now they are drawing our attention to the positives, how the areas we should focus attention on. But unfortunately, English and Twi were spoken. What about Ewe? What about Gonja? What about Mampruli? What about all the other languages? This morning, are we making any effort to give the information to the people? You see, you fight the pandemic with the accurate information. So the information must get to the people. You are coming to register to vote. It doesn't mean that come and risk your life. What if on the day of voting you are on admission at the hospital, or you are even dead before the voting? What's the essence of your registration? So you see, you must understand that you are doing it to protect your own self. You are not doing that for anybody. If you are wearing a mask or you are ensuring social distancing, don't ever assume that you are doing it for somebody who. You are doing it for your own self. So if people will not think about their own life and can be reckless because they think that obeying the protocols is doing it for government or somebody, please, government is just a name. If you get a disease, the government will still run. There are countries where the presidents have died. Burundi, their sitting president died before even the elected one was sworn in, but the country still went on. So we should not think that we are obeying protocols for somebody. We are obeying for our own selves.
Let's move on. The Ghana Health Service wants us to change the narrative. Now they want us to shift the focus and how we communicate on coronavirus. This story I'm taking from the Finder, Elvis, your paper. It says COVID-19 active cases declining. This is attributed to the GHS. Now the Ghana Health Service, GHS, has called on stakeholders to focus attention on the active cases of COVID-19 and not cumulative cases. Director General Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje mentioned that given the high recovery rates among COVID-19 patients, conversations around the virus should be focused on the decreasing trend of active cases in the country. Now, according to him, the country's decline in active cases compared with other countries in the region indicates that when Ghanaians continue to observe the safety protocols, Ghana can overcome the virus soon. Elvis, I want to start with you on this one. Great, it makes sense. I mean, to communicate or to have conversations around the active cases and the fact that they are declining. But where do we draw the line so it does not breed complacency?
No, actually, nobody, as I said, nobody is saying that the COVID doesn't exist anymore. Nobody is saying COVID is not dangerous. And nobody is saying that you won't contract COVID anymore.
But there are people who are of that view that there's no COVID.
So if you are of that, when you get it, you know whether it exists or not. That you keep on that your mentality. The day you get it, you understand it's real or not. But I think that globally, even the WHO has got it wrong in the terms of the communication. They will still emphasize the number of cases. But you see, I always insist that when we fall sick, as humans, whether we like it, we will fall sick at one point or the other. The expectation is that we will recover and return home to our loved ones. So I don't understand why we still emphasize the total number of cases. When a lot of them have recovered, they are back into society, living like all of us, and we'll still be mentioning the total figure. I think it's a wrong communication strategy. People have recovered and gone home. You are telling me that we should be saying that between January and now, 20,000 or 40,000 people had malaria, when probably 90% or 80% of those who had the malaria had recovered and are back home. What's the essence of emphasizing the total number when more than 90% are back home? So for me, I think that they are now seeing the light, and the light is that COVID is dangerous, it is alive, it is killing people, it's affecting people, but many people are recovering. I don't want to focus on the people who have recovered and are back home and are living their normal life and return to work. I want to focus on those who still are carrying the virus. So I think that the communication should focus on the active cases, because the hospitalization rate, how many people actually at the end of the when they are found, they end up being hospitalized. We are being told that our health system is not overrun because, fortunately for Ghana, most of the people who have COVID are asymptomatic. So they actually don't fall sick. So all they need is 2 weeks of treatment and they are back to normal life. We are being told that, so our isolation centers, we still have some which are virtually empty because people are not there. We should be thankful for this kind of statistics. when we share this kind of statistics with the people become confident and say, oh, okay, so these are the number that are hospitalized. And we are even told that out of the number that get hospitalized, 83% recover and go home. So you realize that the initial fears that we need ventilators, thankfully, because most of our people are asymptomatic. Yeah. 2, because of the aggressive policy of testing and contact tracing from the beginning, we get people very early. And the fact that the hospitalization rate is low makes Ghana's case of addressing the sickness far better than in countries where hospitalization rates are very high. I was listening to the US this morning, one of the, is it California? They said hospitalization rate as at May compared to today is about 5 times what they were recording in May. Wow. Because there's a spike in the disease. And the problem is when the people need hospitalization, when the person is asymptomatic or the symptoms are mild, and the person can even be treated from home, which is a global phenomenon anyway, it doesn't scare people. But because we keep emphasizing 25,000, 27,000 people have the disease, then there's a fear in the people. All these numbers people have the disease. It's created an impression that people are still living with the disease. Yeah. So it puts so much fear in people. So I think that it's a fact that 27,000 people have it in Ghana. But as we speak, over 23,000 don't have it anymore. They are back home. They are like, all of us are going to work and doing whatever they are supposed to be doing. So what's the essence of emphasizing? So I think that the change in communication is so good. We should emphasize more of this. That people will have a better understanding of the situation. Look at the situation at Accra Girls. After last week, 7 of them have actually recovered and returned. And so far, we have not been told that any of the students who have COVID, it usually requires hospitalization. They are just being treated in the isolation facilities in the schools. So when we make people understand that, look, these are some of the positives of the disease. And in Ghana, we are lucky to be doing this, and the health system seems to be coping very well to address the various things that other countries are struggling with. Ghanaians will begin to have confidence that the disease is there, but I think that we have a good system. We are lucky to have more people being asymptomatic. We are lucky to be finding the people when they got it early so they don't get sick. And therefore, at the end of the day, we are doing well. And therefore, if we wear the mask and follow the protocols and the infection rates begin to drop, Ghana can easily deal with this disease. That is a positive story.
Let me come to you, lawyer. Now, how do we target the communication? I mean, putting out the positive sides, one, the declining rates, but then also reducing the fear, ensuring calm, but making sure then that there's no complacency. Because if we keep touting the positivity only, people might get complacent and let their guards down.
It's a cocktail, isn't it? It's a cocktail of different things. And there's a value chain to it. There's a beginning, there's a midpoint, there's an end point. You know, it's always good to monitor the number of infections. Why? It allows us to be able to identify the spread. How many people have got it in general in terms of the spread of the virus. Then you come to the active cases. Those are the ones who actually have it. How are we sorting them out? How are they going through the challenges they're going through? Then you've got those who have now also recovered. Then you've got the last bit, the asymptomatic ones who don't even express or show signs of COVID. So for me, I think this cocktail is always important for anybody to be able to identify and monitor what is happening. The world, throughout the world, active cases, those who have been infected, those who have recovered, is reported. It's a narrative. Down the road, when all this is over, and we start putting the jigsaw together to write a story, it's all part and parcel of it. I don't think anybody should be scared of the fact that you get infected. What is challenging is that there are quite a number of people who have comorbidity issues who don't even know. Some have blood pressure, some have kidney problems, some have lung problems. They don't know because they don't even show it. Then they get infected and quickly they are into that bracket that they can go. And so it goes to tell us that as individuals, we need to always, after a certain age, we need to always test ourselves. Do I have high blood pressure? Do I have problems with my kidneys? Do I have problems, generally? What is the state of my health? Right. If we are able to do that, when we have a pandemic like this, it's very easy to identify any of those who have comorbidity challenges and isolate them, because that is the difficult bit. A lot of people who have recovered because they don't have comorbidity. Yeah. But a lot of people who have died because they have comorbidity. Yeah. So it is a jigsaw, and it is a value chain that at every stage we need to be able to monitor.
All right, thank you very much, Kwabjato. We need to take a break here. When we come back, we have other topics we're going to look into. So please keep your messages coming in. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily, and the WhatsApp number is 0550585832. This is Breakfast Daily. We'll be right back.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethlog, experts in shipping logistics.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. This is the news review segment, and I have Kwame Jantua here, a lawyer, and of course Elvis Daku, the editor of the Finder newspaper, also here. Briefly, we want to touch on the West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, which begins today. Front page of the Daily Graphic says, WASI begins today. I'm reading a paragraph or two, and then we can touch on it. Now, after months of uncertainty and apprehension arising out of the coronavirus disease, the 2020 West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASI, kicks off for Ghanaian candidates today. In all, 375,737 candidates from 976 schools will be writing the examination at 796 centers throughout the country. Now, out of the figure, about 188,163 are female, while the remaining 187,573 are males. So basically, the exam is starting today amid the pandemic. We've seen the president wishing the candidates well, education minister as well wishing the candidates well. Now, I just want to find out briefly all the brouhaha that came out before the exam starts today. What impact or what kind of effect can this have on the candidates themselves? Mr. Janto, if you can start this with me. The students are writing the exams, of course, starting today, but then we all know the issues that came up prior to this day. And so what kind of effect do you think this can have on the candidates who are sitting this exam?
Have they had the time to study?
Well, they've only been in school for just about 3 weeks or so.
Well, when they knew, they did know that WASI was going to come along. They weren't oblivious to that fact. And so, even though they were home, they should have been studying.
Yeah.
And so, I don't see that should be an excuse not to prepare for WASI when you knew it was going to happen. And so, we wish them the best, but probably not everybody would be affected by the brouhaha that has gone on.
Yeah.
And it has gone on in specific schools, not every school.
Yeah.
So probably those specific schools are what we should monitor and look at and see whether people have been affected, and if they've been affected psychologically, let's try as much as possible to be able to bring them, back into the realm of taking exams. Now, the probable challenge is that if it so happens that they don't pass the exams, they can blame it on COVID. Especially in those schools that we had problems. We have to be very careful how we handle those students, because definitely, if somebody did study, and we are all not the same, we all handle problems in a different way. It affects them, then we have to look at those students specifically. But I would have hoped, and I don't know whether it happened, that they would have been able to take the mass of students and pick out those they felt had, especially in the schools that this challenge was shown. They would be able to pick those students who were finding problems with studying because of the brouhaha of COVID in their schools. But generally, I just hope that, they've studied well, they can pass the exams, and then we take it from there. But then you ask the question, at this particular moment, has government been right to insist on these exams taking place?
Yeah.
It looks as if it's going to happen, and we've been able to control COVID in the schools to a minimum. So far, only 3 people have died, students have died, and we are not sure whether they're all COVID related.
Yeah.
So let's see how best we can monitor it. Let's see how best we can supervise the exams, and hopefully our nephews, our children, our nieces would go through this exam without any challenges.
All right. WASI begins today. All the theories that were spun around it, the politicization thereof, and all that. Going into the exams, what do you make of the posturing of the candidates themselves?
Well, let me say that there's been some fear and panic, anyway, just like the general public.
Yeah.
But so far, the 3 students that have died, all that I've read, none has to do anything to do with COVID.
Yeah.
One was said meningitis, one was said a headache, another one was ulcer.
Yeah.
So none of them has anything to do with COVID.
Yeah, but then it's also out of the fear and panic that stems out of COVID.
So people thought that is COVID, but it has been established that all the 3 students who have died so far, if what I've read are factual, it means none of them died of COVID, as we speak. And all the kids that have said to be positive, as I said last week, even Accra, 7 of the students have returned to school because they are tested negative for the virus. So I think that it's unfortunate that this thing has happened this year, because this is the first batch of free SHS students. And the expectation was that they will do something extra than the previous system, because the previous system we were seeing a lot of failures on the part of candidates, especially in the 3 core subjects, math, science, and English. So you realize that that's why there's an effort to change the curriculum. A lot of things were being done in terms of policy-wise to make sure that things get done better, and that even under double track, efforts have been made to make sure that the students actually get more hours, more contact hours than even before double track. So a lot has been done, and if you consider the fact that the government so far has invested over 2 billion cedis into free SHS, and even their registration for the first time in many years has been free paid for by the state, you realize that the government has done its part to make sure that these kids have the peace of mind to study. And at the time that they're ready to start the exams, then COVID came in and disrupted everything. We've all been students. When you are anxious for examination, you study so hard, and all of a sudden it's called off to gather that energy to go and study back again and go to the exam. Sometimes it could be psychologically a problem. And then they have another psychological problem of COVID. So for me, I always urge the students that look, it's their opportunity. They are the future of this country. They've had free SHS. Despite the challenges, they should just close their minds to the negativity about COVID and everything in society. They should just focus and write. In the midst of crisis, sometimes you even perform better. Sometimes you fear a paper and say, this paper, I think I'm going to fail. And you study so hard that when the results come, you also surprised about what you even get. Like, I thought I was going to fail this, but I even performed better in the paper that I was afraid of than the paper I thought that I'm comfortable with. Because you had a mindset that there is some psychological problem you feel, so you did extra work. And that's what I'll urge the students to do, that in the midst of COVID and everything, they need to close their minds to everything that people are saying about COVID and everything, and do an extra work and say, in the midst of COVID, I want to prove a point, so that they can come out with flying colors at the end of the day. I think they owe it to themselves to justify the investment made in them by the country Ghana, by making education for them free. Despite the challenges, I think they should be able to do it. I've read that in the era of Ebola, where Liberia, Sierra Leone were even hit so hard, even in those years, those countries did not postpone the exams. They wrote the WASI with all of us at the same time. So if if you talk to people in Liberia and Co, they don't see any difference between Ebola and COVID. They even see Ebola as more dangerous than COVID. So for them, all the fear and everything, if you go there, they are living their normal life because they are already used to how Ebola devastated them. So, and if in those years they even wrote the WASI with us, I think that in the midst of COVID, students should be determined that they can also write the WASI and pass. And I only pray that the good Lord will give them that mental strength to be able to close their minds to the negativity, focus on their studies, write the paper, and come out to flying colors.
Correct me if I'm wrong. In the past, when students failed on block, what did it have to do with parents not being able to pay fees and do all the things that they needed to do because of lack of money? Because it would be very disappointing if the students take the exam and at the end of the day, quite a number of them fail. That would be very disappointing. And when that happens, we need to now be able to go down to the brass tacks and find out what was the cause. Some might want to blame COVID, but as I said, it's no excuse. So far as you prepare yourself and you can write the exam, go ahead and do it. So we'll wait and see the results. When do they come out? September?
September,
Let's wait to see the results.
Okay, we'll have a number of questions on that, but we need to move on. We want to enter into the GBC issues, and I'm reading off the citynewsroom.com. GBC workers to petition NMC today over reduction of TV channels. The story reads, unionized staff of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC, say they will petition the National Media Commission, NMC, today, Monday, July 20, 2020, to intervene over plans by the government to cede 3 of its channels. Communications Minister Esla Usuakufo, in a letter dated June 29, 2020, directed the Director General of GBC to reduce the corporation's channels on Ghana's digital terrestrial television DTT platform from 6 to 3 within 60 days. Now, the union last Friday held a debate to protest the move, saying it will render some workers jobless. Speaking to City News, Vice Chairman of the union, Mark Agodua, said the NMC must intervene. Quote, yes, we will petition. We'll send a petition to the NMC because we want the NMC to intervene. It is their constitutional mandate to do that. We just want them to talk or maybe negotiate because the workers are resolute with their decision. Whatever the case is, there is room for dialogue. End quote. Now, others. Minister of Communications has issued a directive to the state broadcaster that you have 6 channels on the DTT platform. Reduce them to 3 so we can free up space on the platform. Now, staff of the GBC are up in arms with the minister over this directive, and now they say they want to petition the NMC. What do you make of the communication or the conversation around this so far?
I am a very big supporter of public broadcasting. And I've always said it. We all talk about public interest journalism. But the question nobody is asking is who pays for it.
Exactly.
That is the question nobody wants to ask. But everybody yearns for public interest journalism. And in my candid opinion, the best institutions to do the best public interest journalism are public funded, state-owned media houses. That has always been my point. And I am convinced that they are the best to do it. We are living in a country where we have state-owned media institutions, and they are struggling to survive. So for me, this GBC issue, I turn it out simple. GBC, as we speak, is struggling to survive. And apart from their salaries that are paid by the state from the consolidated fund, they have to look for money to run their entire operations, which is so difficult for them. Because once they are trying to operate as a public broadcaster and expecting funding from the state, the funding never comes. So GBC has over 16 radio stations across Ghana that it has to pay for. They are not bringing any revenue. Most of them don't bring any revenue. But because the public broadcaster, they have to do it. So for me, say that, look, GBC only 6 channels, in my opinion. Looking at GBC, following their content on all the channels, I think that it will be in their own interest to even relinquish some of the channels. Because they are trying to fill all the channels with content, and they are overstretched to do that, and they don't have the resources. So you see a lot of content regularly being repeated on their network. And what they haven't realized is that because of this kind of situation, people say GBC is not competitive. Because they expect to see competitive content regularly. But because of the pressure on them to fill so many channels and the resources are not there, they do one production and in the whole month it can be repeated several times. So I hold the view that if they relinquish the 3 channels, it is not a problem. Even the 3 that will be left, to actually occupy the 3 with competitive content will still be difficult for GBC because of funding issues. So my suggestion is that let the 3 go. Ask yourself, what can you do with the 3? I have said GBC 24 and GBC itself should be merged into one network to run a 24-hour current affairs channel. Okay? Then entertainment, lifestyle, and sports should also be on one channel because they all fall under the entertainment category. And then Obono is not equity because it broadcasts only in the Ghana language. And if you watch Obono, you will see repetitive content regularly because GBC is struggling to fill it. I think they should convert it to a local language channel where they will migrate all their local language productions from the local showcase in the local languages. Every production that they are doing in local language, they should migrate it to Obono and change the name and make it a local language channel. And then the government's own sponsored channel, which is GTV, Ghana Learning TV, they should add agriculture content to it. Because a country that boasts of 50% or more of its people being into agriculture need to do a lot of media content in agri. So at the time that the kids are in school, that the content, the network will be free, they should use it to also show things about agriculture, quality productions. And I tell you that even if they maintain these channels, to keep these channels competitive with the kind of content that will be attractive to people, GBC will still struggle. So I think that if they rather
taking over the work of the programs manager,
I think that they keep it lower number of channels and try to do some competitive content. And if it attracts revenue from the private sector in terms of sponsorship and other, they invest more into production.
But
that's the only way they will become. That's the only way. No, they cannot. You see, let nobody deceive you that there will be job losses at GBC. If you want to run a 24-hour news channel, one 24-hour news, you are in the business. You know the number of staff you will need to run a 24-hour television news channel. When television is going out, you need 2 or 3 people to go out at a time. So to run one 24-hour TV channel, the number of staff you need is on CNN International is one channel. Look at the number of staff they have globally because they are doing a 24-hour news and current affairs channel. If GBC said they want to use only the local language channel to document the history, the traditions and culture of every ethnic group in Ghana, for 5 years they'll still be doing that production. And they'll need so many hands to do it. So the idea of they will lose their job is not an issue. if they rationalize and say, we want to go into competitive content, they will use all their hands. The only way they will lay off people, in my opinion, will be to say, these people lack the capacities to meet the new direction of the company. And if they lay them off, what it will mean that they will have to bring in more people who will meet those standards to be able to do those quality productions. So for me, the bottom line for GBC, in my opinion, is not about fighting the channels. It's about saying that even if we are left with 3, the public has generally passed a judgment on us that our content is weak, so they don't even patronize us. That is what a lot of people will even make the argument emotionally that government is trying to take channel from GBC. Go back and ask them, do you want GBC? So GBC, their content, I don't like, I watch this. So you see, we will be helping GBC if we help them to rather improve the quality of content on fewer channels that they can actually fill with good content. That to give them 6 channels, and when you open GBC Sports, if they are not doing any live production, you see some very, very old productions, sometimes not interesting. How do you think that you'll be competitive if City TV, others are showing current things regularly, and you show one current thing, and for the next 3 hours, you are showing some old things.
So you
think that the Ghanaian will follow you? So they should look at the public perception about their content. Public perception about their content should tell them that if they improve on content, they can compete with anybody. And they can only improve on content when they run less channels, where they will devote their time and resources to do something for fewer channels. That to have more channels, spread the programs, and the quality of the content and the currency of the content that the people are looking for, they don't have much of it. And the people use that rather against them. It's not their fault. But I think that cutting down and restructuring and doing some of these things, in my opinion, if I'm the one in charge, there will not be job losses.
Thank you.
And we can do better.
Mr. Johnson, let me come to you now. The GBC is on the GTV1 platform. It's on the DTT platform. It's on DSTV platform. Now, we've heard Information Minister saying that the directive is more or less in response to managers of the DTT platform who say they want to reduce redundancy on that platform. Do you think these are just gimmicks to take the 3 channels from the station?
Look, whether they have 6 channels, whether they have 3 channels, the content is neither here nor there. It's money. Are they financed properly? I would have thought, and successive governments haven't been fair to GBC. When you go to GBC today, it's like an archaic establishment. You drive through GBC, they have everything there. They have the buildings, they have everything there to be a CNN of Ghana. Don't they? They do. So I would have thought, and they are portrayed in the Constitution, Chapter 12, Freedom and Independence of the Media. They are the leaders where the media in this country is concerned. Why doesn't government sit down and say, what are your problems? How can we help you to get these problems fixed properly, so that going forward you can give us content, you can give us the right people, you can build capacity within your people, you can even extend to other parts of West Africa, if not Africa in general. Why haven't we done that? Why isn't government interested in making sure that GBC is the media house that most media houses in Ghana follow? Now, if you take all the media houses we have in this country, compare them to the private media houses, they are last bottom. And should it be so? It shouldn't be so. The responsibility of GBC is in the hands of the government. It's not in the hands of any private sector. And if GBC is given the right resources to be able to do the right programs, you will see the change. Now, with regards to the channels, what is the minister going to use these extra channels for? It's not just a question of telling us that you're taking
3
channels. Give us the details. Where are these 3 channels going to? Who are going to occupy these 3 channels?
No, but excuse me, the directive is not only to GBC. It's to all private, even privacy that have more than 2 channels.
Well, I understand there's only one other station that has an extra channel. I've forgotten the name of the station. So it's them and GBC. Crystal. It's just these 2.
Anybody has more than 2 will have to relinquish it.
But the thing is that, what are they using these for? They should tell us. It's not just a question of you coming to tell us that relinquish your channels and that's it.
No, but the minister said that national security, for instance, doesn't have a channel. And let's understand, the channel is no longer for the state. It's a resource, and a private company has invested in developing the DDT platform. So the platform is owned and managed by the private company to make their money that they invested. Because the Ghana government at the time of development did not say they didn't have the money, so did not invest it money to develop the DDT platform. So the DDT platform has become a private resource that is being managed on behalf of the state.
So if that is the case, does it help us? Is this something that will help the national broadcaster? If the private sector has gone in there, definitely the private sector are looking to make money, and if that goes to the detriment of the national media, then government should do something about it.
I mean, GBC had challenged the privatization of the DTT, saying that they could have managed it.
They could have managed it. So I think we've got to the stage where we all sit down, government and all stakeholders. What can we do with GBC? At the present moment, BBC is going through a similar situation. But yes, they are thinking whether we can advertise on BBC or not advertise on BBC because it's a national broadcaster. Let's look at the challenges that GBC are facing and how we can help solve those challenges. Once we solve those challenges and we can monitor their work and make sure they've got the right content on there, then we can see, because it's a shame for anybody to come and say, oh, I don't even watch GBC. But sometimes I can bet your bottom city. Sometimes I watch GBC, and you can see some of the programs that they bring out are fantastic.
Very solid content.
It's just a question of making sure that they have the resources to do what they have to do and build the kind of capacity they want to build. And yes, sometimes too, you might say that most of the people who work in GBC, because they don't have money, they do their own private thing. It should stop. That should stop. But I think government should put its eye in there. It's under the Ministry of Information, right? I expect the Ministry of Information, I expect the all stakeholders to sit around the table and say, okay, yes, we need these channels. We know you've got challenges. Let's look at the challenges. You see, if you go through that process and you now come and tell us that you're taking 2-3 channels, people might understand. But if out of the blue, you come and tell us, relinquish 3 of your channels, without going through the basic problems of the station, it becomes very difficult to accept.
So in a candid opinion, GBC needs 6 channels with the content in a candid opinion.
You are against that.
No, listen, you think that they deserve to have 6 television channels?
I don't think that's what he's saying.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying let's go through their challenges. Let's see what it is they require. Let's see the amounts of money they require. And if after you've gone through all that, you realize you don't need 6 channels, but you've gone through the process to prove why you don't need 6 channels, then it's very easy for people to accept. But if you come and you just tell me relinquish your channels without looking at the grassroots problems, then how do I accept it? It's very difficult.
I mean, I'm asking that from the beginning, what engagements went on before they went for the 6?
Funding for public media houses everywhere in the world is dwindling. As far as we have failed our public media houses decades ago. Personally, I don't sit here today and expect public funding for state media to even go up. I even envisage that in 5 years or 10 years, GBC staff may not even get their salary from Consolidated Fund anymore. Because Daily Graphic is a state-owned media, but they work and pay themselves. They work and pay themselves. They even pay dividend to government the years that they make profit. So I don't expect, from the look of things, the way we see media, and with the proliferation of private media doing all that, personally, if I work at GBC, I will know clearly that we shouldn't expect any improved funding from the state. And therefore, if we have to reduce our channels, do some quality content that can earn us good money from private sector to improve what we are doing. Personally, I would prefer that than to think that there will be any pressure that will bring any government to come and increase funding for GBC. I don't foresee it in the near future.
So then it comes back to the call that they need to have a sit down and agree on some of these things.
They might not increase funding. However, the problems that they face would be outlined. The problems that they need to tackle, they will be able to tackle it, identify and tackle it. When you do that, and I don't buy this thing about, throughout the world, public media. If that is what is good for us, let's do it. Let's do it.
And do away with the one size fits all.
It's about what is reality. It's about what is reality.
Is it impossible?
Okay. So if you are not following reality and you are feeling idealism, idealism will fail you in this world today.
No, Elvis.
Okay?
Elvis, is the state aware of the challenges of
the state is aware. Do you know, as at last year, do you know GBC's light bills alone that they owe, that they put in place over 60 billion?
What solutions is the state offering?
I'm telling you, GBC has 16 radio stations. Go and find out how many of the radio stations make any money. That is able to pay for the operation. But because it's a state broadcaster, the little money they make, they need to make sure that all these stations across Ghana are running.
Yeah.
So you should begin to look at how you can yourself.
All right. So it's important that a holistic approach to finding solutions to this.
If Graphic has proven that they can build on their own,
GBC should be able to do same.
And I'm not saying the expectation. And in an economy where we are talking about give money to roads, and people felt that, as I said, I am a 100% supporter of public broadcasting. I think that it's
unfortunately we've run out of time.
Best to do any public interest journalism.
We need to end the conversation
in Ghana. GBC should be the best.
We've run out of time.
But the reality is that it has not been the case because of inadequate state funding.
That's all the time we have this morning.
Next week I'll take his time. It's got to do with parity. It's got to do with parity. What is the parity for GBC? And that is what we should question and ask.
I'm sure this conversation will continue even after the show. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame Janto, a lawyer and former vice chair of PIAC. And of course, thank you, Elvis Dako, editor of the Finder newspaper. This is Breakfast Daily. We have more in store for you, so please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ghanaians don't always agree, and that's fine as long as we respect each other and play by the rules. It doesn't matter who you vote for. What matters is that you make your voice heard and that every vote counts. A new clean voters registry ensures that no matter who you vote for, democracy always wins. Go out to register today.
There are those with untold stories, unraveled feats, life-changing stories, and lasting legacies. They tell their stories themselves on footprints. Yes.
Oh, at some point, well, we are taking the step. Unfortunately, he was dragging the country into an abyss. Yeah. So we saw it. But they have held power, the guns and so forth. Who were we to? We just watched. But by I believe 74-5, the country was seeing through him. That this man was a total misfit.
But he was a happy man.
Because in Akan there's a proverb.
Be inspired by their hard work and resilience that led to their outstanding achievements as we trace their footsteps through time.
Lincoln, we have one of our, school member died or whatever, so we have to go there and perform during the funeral, whatever. And then I was feeling thirsty, so there was but those days it's not like pure water or whatever. They sell the water in the bottle. Yeah, stuff like that. So there was a bottle there. I thought it was just a water. No, it was aquatation, So I just took it. When I drank it, before I realized, Charlie. So what happened to me? I'm like, Charlie, I'll never touch it. So since then, I've never touched alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't drink alcohol and you never smoked?
Smoke, no way. No.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Then who comes out of the car? Chachu Chikata and Kojo Chikata. And the Chachu told me that they have, Kojo was sick since the morning and he has been tortured and whatnot, and they have come for medical attention. Of course, naturally, I have to look after them, even though they are very close relatives. So I look at Kojo, I examine him, I notice that he's definitely been tortured. And there was blood, deep-seated blood in the ears. We can see that clearly.
So join me, Samuel Atamensa, and my guests every Saturday at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. for Footprints, only on City TV.
Footprint is sponsored by Bethel Logistics Company Limited, experts in shipping logistics.
If you can get all the understanding on some of the difficult subjects you struggle with in school. As a student, do you feel dissatisfied with how hard it is to figure out a subject you're learning? Or as a parent or guardian, do you worry that your child is struggling to understand some of the subjects in school? Well, now you don't need to sign up for extra lessons or tutors. Simply tune in to Class Act, Mondays to Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. on City TV. Class Act is a show that seeks to enable senior high school students gain a much better understanding of what they learn in school. All you need is a TV, a chair, your notebook, and your pen. Get clarity on subjects such as maths, English, IT, and science. Class Act airs every Monday to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on City TV on DSTV channel 363 and Go TV channel 182. Don't forget your pens, pencils, and your notebooks, and tune in to Class Act only on City TV.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On Go TV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the Go TV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We live in a world where news travels fast, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate fact from fiction. Fact Finder brings fact-checking from the newsroom up close so you can separate truth from chaff. Be empowered to tell what's fake from what's real. Watch Fact Finder by the BBC on City TV every Wednesday at 6 p.m. City TV, it's your world.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, today we'll be talking nutrition and fibroids. So if you have any questions for us, let us know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. The WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana and you would like to contribute to the conversation, use the country code +233. I have been joined by state-registered nutritionist Akua Yadom. Good morning, Akua.
Good morning, Dziffa.
How are you?
I'm awesome. Yourself?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being with us.
Always a pleasure.
Now, nutrition and fibroids. Why is this important, what you eat as far as fibroids is concerned?
Okay, so 80% of all women will go through fibroids. Some will naturally go away, and then others will need to be taken off depending on the treatment plan you and your surgeon or your specialist, your doctor, decide on. It could be through drug therapy or myomectomy. That is a procedure where we take fibroids out and still preserve the uterus.
80%?
80%. So the reason why it is not so much out there is because, like I said, sometimes nature happens and so they are washed away or they go away. But 80% of all women. So it's a very serious thing as far as female health is concerned. And so I know that this conversation will really help a lot of women. So yes, 80% will go through, but for some women, nature happens, and so they are able to kind of flush it out. For some people, based on a healthy lifestyle, taking of healthy meals or balanced meal, there are people who stick with, let's say, professionals like a nutritionist, and so definitely they are guided on as to what to even eat. The research also says that it is common in people who are overweight and obese, especially women who are overweight, who are obese. It can affect women at all ages, but it's within 30 to 40. That is where massive numbers are. So if you are a woman of childbearing age, you can obviously find yourself having this. So
what is fibroids? Okay,
so they are growth, which is brought about as far as elevated levels of estrogen and progesterone are concerned. Now, females, we need progesterone in us because it's responsible for we having breast, and then it's also responsible for the production of breast milk. So you can't go without progesterone as far as being a woman is concerned. If you're of childbearing age and would want to be a mother, would want to have a child, would want to breastfeed, yes. And estrogen levels or hormones in general will need to be in a regulated amount level. So for men, the estrogen levels are normally low. So if you have a man with a higher level as far as estrogen is concerned, you have some men developing breast. Yeah. So that is what is, it's a cause. Yes. So you need to make sure it is within a certain balance, and what we are eating, what we are putting in our system can reduce our risk of having this. Research also says that if you are going through certain complications, we'll go through them all. If you bleed heavily, if you are experiencing certain things, I know that as the conversation progresses, we'll touch on that. And for people who smoke, yes, there is a 50% increased chances within the 80% of women for people who smoke, women who smoke to have fibroids.
For those.
It's
what
higher.
are some of the causes and symptoms before we even get into the eating bit?
Okay, so for the causes, like I said, nature happens. I'm a woman.
So
you
it could be
are
genetic,
a woman, so nature can be happening. But obviously, there are certain things we do. As a matter of fact, no research has been able to stick its head out and say that
this is what
is causing fibroids. But obviously, certain happenings can influence you having them. For people who like a lot of sugars,
so lifestyle
choices. So to even start with, for the introduction, I would say that adopting a healthy eating pattern, or you sticking with a meal plan, you knowing what to eat, the quantities to eat, and then a healthy lifestyle sets you right as to you reducing your risk of having this. And the cause can also be elevated levels. I spoke about estrogen. So your hormones are supposed to be within a certain balance. If you have more of it, then it puts you at risk of having this. And as compared to people, I have a normal BMI, to the glory of God. And so if you are overweight, if you are obese, there are people grade 3 obesity, there are people who are morbidly obese. They come out and they enter the house when everybody else has closed from work. So if you find yourself within that category, if you are hypertensive, and we've spoken extensively about hypertension and what contributes to it, if you find yourself in these brackets, you can influence, and so at that point it can serve as a cause or a leading cause.
So we're managing the probability of getting fibroids, because there's no one size fits all. There's no way you can avoid it as a woman. Where do we start from as far as eating is concerned?
Okay, so for the eating basic rule, I will say that you need to make sure you are taking a lot of fluids.
Okay.
Yes, and then you would have to, so it depends on whoever is taking care of you. Like I said, the way I practice as a nutritionist is different from the way you will practice if you were a nutritionist. So based on the surgeon or the specialist taking care of you, they can say that, okay, for your myomas, another name for fibroids, isn't so big, and so we want to do drug therapy so that we kind of shrink it in a way. So you can use anti-hormonal medications to shrink the size of the fibroids. And so, okay, for me, let's say as your caregiver or your doctor, I would say that, okay, I'm doing drug therapy. For somebody, they want to, and you have dreams of getting pregnant in the future, even after and fibroids are removed, then you should go in for myomectomy, because it will take them off and still protect your uterus, which is the house for the baby as far as conception is concerned. So yes, Dziffa, you need to make sure that, I know if I'm answering your question.
Yes, what do we eat?
So like I said, you making sure that there can we have our points as far as what we can eat.
But you said we should take a lot of fluids.
A lot of fluids,
drink
and then
and lots
stick
of
to
water.
a balanced meal, or a healthy diet.
Okay.
Most people will go like, I want to have the Mediterranean diet. So for low-fat foods, it's for people who sometimes after a procedure or after undergoing myomectomy will have their tummy reacting to what they are eating. So for such people, you need to go low as far as your fat intake is concerned. So these are some examples of fat foods. So they are soothing to your guts, because there are people who after the procedure will zoom in and start eating everything they were eating and they are okay, but there are people who also react. So it is basically important for such people to go low as far as fat is concerned. So we have the whole meal, we have lean meat. Even the Mediterranean diet will make sure you are doing chicken more and fish more, the seafoods more, over red meat. Red meat is also one that can increase your risk of having this. So at a certain age in your life, you should know where to be cutting down on certain things and where to also be increasing certain things, obviously, because we're talking about the fact that you don't need red meat. So this is an example of what you can have for persons who have let's say undergone. And potassium rich foods is very important also for people who have high blood pressure. So it regulates or check the salt level and helps with balancing, yes, as far as persons with high blood pressure is concerned. So if you have myomas or you have fibroids and you have hypertension or yes, you are hypertensive, then it means that you have to pay much attention to potassium rich foods. So that's more avocados, beets, spinach, butternut squash, and you can get all of these things locally at an affordable price, actually. And then you need to, and then you need to cut down on alcohol consumption. So foods that reduce your risk of fibroids, if you can have that. Foods that reduces your risk of fibroids. You can have a healthy meal. We've talking about it. A design meal plan can help. Focus on the Mediterranean diet, cutting down or avoiding alcohol. And then we have balanced estrogen levels. We've spoken about it. Add vitamin D, potassium, calcium, and fiber-rich foods to your meals. Foods that reduces your risk for fibroids. So these ones increase your risk. Let's move with them. So red meat, we spoke about it. Alcohol, you have 50% increased risk of fibroids in persons women who consume alcohol, at least a glass of beer or more per day. You have increased chances. And then unbalanced estrogen levels, we've spoken about it. I've explained this unbalanced estrogen levels. And then we have the fourth one.
It's what's your blood pressure. About it. So I said you should make sure you lose weight and then you avoid chemicals that affect your hormonal levels. Like the dyes we use for our hair, the personal care products we use as ladies. They also, can be harmful. So you should know what sits in the product you are using. And then watch your blood pressure. And then I've spoken about it that it is kind of higher in persons with high blood pressure. And then lack of vitamin D. So research says that people who are dark-skinned or find themselves in a cooler environment. Dziffa, for the sake of the show, you probably leave the house, let's say 5. You have to drive all the way here. You hardly will see the sun. You leave in the evening. Definitely, with everything we have here as far as the studio is concerned, it's cold in here. So for you, there is a critical need for you to do supplementation because vitamin D is produced in the body when you are exposed to the sun. Yes, and so if you are not exposed to the sun, then it means that something has to be done, and that has to be with supplementation. And then sugars, added sugars, they affect you or increase your risk. So this is when you take too many, refined sodas, corn syrupy stuff. And then the carbonated drinks. And then the seventh one, lack of calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium. They all help as far as checking your estrogen and certain things in your system. We have magnesium-rich foods. We've discussed them extensively. You can go to CityTube and then find the previous conversations, and then eat low-fat foods. We've projected that. So eating this will increase your risk of having fibroids. So don't do that. So don't do it, or know how to go about it. Okay. Now let's look at phosphorus-rich foods. We have fish, we have meat, we have a bit of cheese there that you can consume to ensure. What would this do for your body? So you imagine that, you realize that I spoke about the Mediterranean diet.
it is friendly as far as the Mediterranean diet is concerned. You don't have red meat sitting in there. You have, for the Mediterranean diet, you have whole meals, vegetables, and fruit sitting at the base. And then it's followed by...
so if possible, avoid that meat in there.
No, that's
not meat?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was meat on top of the fish.
So this has to do with seafood. So I was speaking about the Mediterranean diet. It has fruits, vegetables, and then it has seafoods following, and then it has milk products following, and then the apex has to do with alcohol, sweets, and even for the food pyramid, it's always at the apex because you don't need a lot of them. You need to make sure you are cutting down. So if you are somebody who is within this age brackets, just be conscious about it, because if basically you are eating a balanced diet or a healthy diet, it will always put some of these things in check. If you are varying your meals, if you are not always taking kenke, banku, or this or that, you are sure that you will have every macro and then micronutrients. So yes.
Now, how do we ensure that we're doing the right things and we're also not taking too much of whatever it is we need to ensure that we don't get the fibroids?
Like I said, no single thing, no research will sit and say that, okay, this is what is causing fibroids, but basically adapting a healthy lifestyle. I've spoken about the fact that 50% of women who smoke are at an increased risk of having this, so chances of growing them back. So for some people, they've had fibroid, they've gone through, let's say, procedure, not once, not twice. So it is very important for the one who is yet to experience it, the one experiencing it, there are foods you can eat if you're experiencing it, and for the ones who have successfully undergone a procedure as far as myomectomy, a drug therapy, whatever is concerned, we all need to be on the guard because it can happen. You don't know when it will happen.
Now let's look at the symptoms and complications that are associated with fibroids.
Okay, so for the symptoms, we have them. So we have pains, we have heavy menstrual flow, or
when
bleeding.
we say pains, what do we mean?
Abdominal
Where exactly?
cramps.
Okay.
Yes, and then we have constipation. So for people who even undergo a procedure or myomectomy or drug therapy, sometimes they experience these. Yes, so if you are experiencing let's say constipation, or for us as ladies, we have not had it yet, you've not had it yet before. Yes, so if you have iron deficiency, if you have difficulty in getting pregnant, there are couples who are struggling, they are having miscarriages. If you are gaining weight, you need to check, because if you are putting on weight, fibroids can grow for 20 to 40 pounds, that is 9 to 18 kg sitting in your tummy. So it can obviously affect your weight gain. If you are experiencing any of these, and it happens in 20 to 50% of the 80% of women who will go through this, or if on the regular you are experiencing this and you know you fall within this age brackets, then you need to seek a second opinion. Yes, it's your body. Listen to your body and be able to ask for help. When you realize that this is it, you can consult your medical practitioner or agree on a treatment plan, and be conscious to involve a nutritionist or a dietitian as well, because it has something to do with what you are eating.
Thank you very much, Akua. Lastly, any tips for us, especially people who have just discovered that they have fibroids and they are trying to manage it and not necessarily take it out yet?
Okay, so you can get pregnant after myomectomy. So what I would tell you is that do the right thing, seek proper care. If it's myomectomy, which is the safest, go through it, and afterwards you need to meet a professional nutritionist or dietitian to help you. Last Thursday, I had one of the most amazing news. A client had lost 18 kg and she wants to undergo IVF. And it was like, after the procedure, you need to lose weight so that everything can happen. And I'm like, I'm just going to tell them, you need to make sure that you work on yourself. If you are overweight, if you are obese, if you are hypertensive, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your body. And if you are experiencing any of the symptoms we spoke about, if you are struggling to conceive, if you are having miscarriages, if you are bleeding, you need to really pay attention because myomas may be growing.
Thank you very much, Akosia. Where do we contact you?
So on Instagram at The Nutritionist Akosia, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Nutritionist Akosia, and you can reach me on 0243 350206.
It's always a pleasure to have you.
So I'm honored to be here.
So guys, there you have it. You know, there are certain meals we can take to ensure that we don't get fibroid, or at least we manage it well. Pump in lean meat, eat all the calcium-enriched foods that you can, and consult a professional like Akosia Konadu-Yadom to manage it. We'll take a look at our entertainment highlights, then continue the show.
Welcome to Entertainment Highlights on Breakfast Daily. My name is Akua. The first edition of Stoneboy's Beam Skills Training Workshop was held at the St. Augustine's Catholic Church premises at Ashaman last Friday. Under the auspices of the Livingston Foundation, a charity organization founded by the dancehall artist Stoneboy, the workshop offered training to those who wanted to learn skills to equip them to become entrepreneurs. The Beam Skills Workshop covered areas such as small-scale farming, entrepreneurial development training, food and agro-food processing, fashion accessories production, production of household cleaning products, natural cosmetic production, and fashion designing. The trainers also guided the over 40 participants to learn advanced techniques to help them complete everyday tasks more efficiently. According to Stoneboy, who spoke at the program, this initiative was inspired by the recent scourge that the coronavirus outbreak has left our business the world over, leaving most people unemployed.
There is nothing as hard as a diamond. For buildings with superior strength that withstand all weather conditions, Diamond Cement should be your preferred choice. Locate Diamond Cement nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrady and Bupe. Diamond Cement, as hard as a diamond.
Representing a country is no small feat. Because in Ghana, the love for Israel is so real, People are nursing it from home, from churches, and then you are walking in such a positive atmosphere and all the doors are open for you.
View the lives of the diplomats in Ghana through their very own eyes and see how they make Ghana their home.
I always loved it. I love the remains of African culture in Brazil. I am very interested in the way Africans were able to, amidst those horrible conditions, they were capable of transforming their African heritage.
Join me, Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe, on Diplomatic License every Saturday at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
Welcome back. You're still watching Breakfast Daily on City TV. We're going into the cooking segment, and today we're going to learn to make quinoa salad. We've been joined by the head chef and CEO of Chapter 1 Restaurant, Chef Ruby Painstil. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome. We're going to go straight into it, but before that, we would like for you to take us through the various ingredients, and then, of course, tell us what purpose each one is serving in our salad.
Sure. I think what it is with the epidemic and the challenges that we're facing at the moment, it's quite crucial that we introduce some healthy foods into our diet.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time we've been advised that, eat healthy food, but nobody's really there to explain what simple things can be put together. So I brought some ingredients to make some salad today. But what I will also talk about is alternatives to the ingredients.
Right.
So that if you are at home and you have something else, you can also convert that into that particular food. So quinoa is a fantastic grain to have. And actually, as Akua was talking about fiber and stuff. Quinoa is one of those things, instead of rice, it actually gives you more fiber. It makes you more fuller very quickly. So when you want to lose weight, or you want to just eat healthy, or introduce some healthy food into your diet, these are things that will be actually helpful to start off with them. And at the moment, they are very easily found in the supermarkets here.
Okay.
So we have a red one, quinoa here. And as you can see, it looks like brown rice, but it cooks very quickly than brown rice. So this is food that you can actually get it done quickly. What I tend to do at home is I'll make some, then I'll make quite a lot, and I'll portion some, and I'll put them in the freezer. So when I want them, they're quite quickly available for me to be able to mix them up with some. Then I brought some butternut squash, and what I've done is I've just simply cut them into pieces, put a little bit of honey, and I roasted them. And it just ordinary lettuce. I mean, I do these things with my mom, and she likes it with like a really fresh contumely. Like when you pick it up, like really fresh. The small ones, sort of like the middle one, she brings them up as well. So we have alternatives to those things. But spinach naturally it is full of nutrition. So it's great to be able to have them with you all the time. I brought some little bit of rocket lettuce, and what I like about it, it has a bit of a peppery taste to it. So it's one of those things that you look at it and think, this is really good.
Great.
And
so I think we can begin the process now.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So we have that, and then we also brought some avocado.
Right.
Literally. Although.
So we're going to mix them all up together.
Yes, we are going to mix them all up together. I just want to get a knife for the avocado. And stuff. So what I tend to do is I'll just have a little bit of my red quinoa, a bit of a white quinoa.
Okay.
And you do.
Is that a reason why you're mixing both red and white?
I like they both are quinoas, but they have slight sort of different taste. And I like the two together. You can have one of each. You don't have to mix them at all. I can also make this particular salad with gari.
Oh, great.
As well. And it sort of gives it, because cassava is quite nutrition and stuff. And then I put some butternut scotch in there. I like butternut scotch in there because it is sweet. It's a little bit sweet, but it's a natural sweetness. It's not that sugary type of thing, because a lot of the time you have this kind of sugar, everything is processed. Half of what makes half of the things nutrition is because it's processed. These things that we're doing today, none of it is processed. I put in my sweet corn, and it's literally handful. What I am putting in here is enough to do 2 people. And things. And then I've got some peppers. I've got red peppers, colors. As you do this, I brought in additional like green and yellow peppers as well. I love the colors in it because I think for me it's like it gives
it makes it more attractive.
It's like a rainbow colors. Some mushrooms, because this is a very much vegan vegetarian thing. But with mushrooms, like especially with oyster mushrooms in there, it has that texture that feels like meat.
Okay.
And let's be honest, because we have been brought up and we have 5, there is meat that we want. So we look for alternatives to make us feel like we're eating these things. So I'll put some of that in there. Then I'm going to do some baby spinach. I'm going to do some bit of rocket. And already look at my salad, it's looking like amazing.
Yeah.
And what I do is I mix it up. You can use your hands if you're home or something with gloves or spoon. And it's literally, look at this.
Yeah. It's got all the colors in there.
Look at that. So, it is like, by the time you even get to it, you're like, oh, this is just gorgeous, literally. And I've got that. And then I'm going to present it in this bowl, because what I tend to do is I will put in the cherry tomatoes and the avocados on top.
Okay.
Before I put a salad. I would do this salad and I wouldn't even need a dressing most of the time, because I feel like the sweetness in the avocado, the banana squash, the sweet corn, it allows me to get the sweetness. I don't need any oil. But we're human. A lot of people need a little bit of dressing. So I actually brought in some dressing I made at the restaurant.
Okay.
And it's a basil.
This is made up of what?
Yeah, this is made up of olive oil, lemon juice, and some basil. A little bit of mustard. So it's very simple, and then we have chopped in a lot of the herbs into it as well. So it's just a little bit. I mean, I'm sure those of you can actually smell it.
Yeah.
The thing with food is, apart
so you
from
get that lemon smell.
Exactly. So we put a little bit of that in there. I try to avoid a lot of things like salt in my salads, because I think a lot of the time we're trying to be healthy, then we want to go to salad. The next thing is like lots of salt. What is the point in that sense? I'm not saying you can't put it in there, but you know, salt doesn't go with a lot of the problems that we have, diabetes, hypertension, so we don't want to also overdo it. I have my salad as simple as that.
Yeah.
I put in here. It's a great salad for a family. I remember my husband's like a very meaty person, and I made this salad, and then I tricked him to eat it, and he's like, he wanted more.
Wow.
I was like, you want more? You know? And then after that, he was like, what was in it? And I'm like, this and that. But I think that if I told him before, he wouldn't have eaten it.
Exactly.
Literally. So I've got a little bit of
But then the mushrooms will play the role of meat in there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not like you need meat, but I think it's more texture.
Okay.
I think the reason why we all like meat is the texture.
Right.
You know, if you had alternative and it tasted about the same, the flavor was the same, the texture was good, you'd be okay. So I have some cherry tomatoes. I put that on there. I'm going to put a little bit of my mushrooms on here. Then let's see what we have with this avocado. Oh, today. And the thing with the avocado is that it's so rich. I love avocado. It's one of those very, very good fats that you can have in your food. Obviously, everything is in moderation. So it's not like you go overboard, but it's great, you know, sort of vitamin E. And for me, instead of putting a lot of oily things in my salad, I rather put avocado in the salad, and it just replaces that particular bad processed oil. I have that natural fat in there instead of having this artificial one. Because even though most people say, oh, olive oil, all that is really good, fat is fat, and it will still give you the same calorie content. So whether it's olive oil or sun-dried oil or sunseed oil, it still makes you fat. And I put a little bit of that in there. Great. And then I'll just give you a little bit of green, and we have a whole big bowl of salad that the whole family
our salad
can enjoy.
Is already looking so good. I think I'm going to have to invite Dziffa over. Dziffa is more of a salad person, so maybe she can join us. So
I think that she probably dish a little bit out for me to
no
taste.
problem. We have some salad bowl here.
Yeah.
And I brought in some tongs that we can
so our quinoa salad is ready, looking all sumptuous.
I had a question for you though.
Sure.
Okay.
Instead of quinoa, can we use fonio? Because fonio is a local grain.
Fonio is fantastic.
Okay.
And I was actually going to talk about that. I think
go ahead.
It's one of those things that I really love, and it's, like you said, it's quite local and it's easy to get. I think people are not aware of them, but I think it's something that you can definitely use.
Okay, so in this one bowl I have quinoa, I have mushroom, so I have my...
You have some avocado in there, sweet corn.
So I get all my nutrients in just this one meal.
Definitely, definitely.
Wow.
And the thing is, you know, sometimes we're told that we got to eat healthy, we got to lose weight, but how? And sometimes you are truly stuck. You're like, yes, all this is great for me, but how do I learn? And you start off with things like this, which is very simple to do, and preparation. And I think you don't wake up overnight and become healthy. You have to prepare and give it time. I think because we get up in the morning and we go to work and we are figuring out
so on the screens are the ingredients we used to prepare our quinoa salad. So that's the oyster mushroom there. That's the lemon and herb dressing we used.
You have to teach us how to make this dressing next time. Because I tasted it in the meal.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, it smells so good.
It's delicious. It's so,
I told you,
delicious.
She's the
Thank
salad
you so
person,
much.
so yeah. She already has a mouthful.
I can talk about you guys who don't know how to make this. Where do they find you? I'm going to leave now and enjoy this delicious meal.
So we are at Chapter 1 restaurant in airport inside Villa Monticello Boutique Hotel. You can reach me on my number, which is 020-639-2311. You can get us on Facebook as well at Chapter 1, and we are also on Instagram. And you know, we have a beautiful supper club where we used to teach these things in people's home. And you know, when you are challenged and they say, oh, you got to eat healthy, you got to try different things, come and see me. And because I want to make the food fun, I want to make it easy for you to be able to eat your own food, still lose weight, and at least enjoy what you have to do. And it doesn't have to be so expensive with things that you don't know or you're not aware of it. You know, so we are here to help, and I'll be glad to definitely help. You can call me personally. I love this kind of conversations because people are always got other things that they bring to the table, and we all need to learn. And especially at this time of our new normal, we need to be more helpful to each other, and trying to make sure that we are still standing up when this is all over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chef Ruby Peso, CEO and of course head chef at Chapter 1 restaurant. In just about 10 minutes we have our quinoa salad ready. It is natural, it is healthy, and of course it is sweet. Many thanks to you for coming on the show and of course teaching us how to prepare quinoa salad. Now we're going to check out a music video by From Nurses. Now all morning he's been treating us to some wonderful music, and so we want to check out his video. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's check this out.
How do they say go do the beat? We pray, we pray, blessing pan blessing, now we say blessing pan blessing. Oh, we pray, put this tune pan replay. Oh, DJ, so we say blessing pan blessing. Oh, we say blessing pan blessing. Oh, we pray, put this tune pan replay. Pan teacher, play the big tune twice. Vibes and vibes and vibes. When I fall, I ride. No condition right. Man don't cuss, man fight. You know me keep the flow time. Just say me underrated, body man so scary. Who the boy try kill can't date me. He date me not like just heavy, so heavy. I'ma do a thing scary. Blessing from blessing, now we say blessings from blessings. Oh, we pray. Put this tune from replay. Oh, DJ, so we say blessing from blessing. Oh, we say blessings from blessings. Oh, we pray. Blessing from replay. But DJ, free me, just free me, free me. if you buy a better can get a better deal. Just a wish for life, cause that's all me need. Pray for judge a God for peace, feel me enemies. Here chatting at the street, oh natty, only for them walk off for me. One of them more than one for me, come and see, feel like I got chat, go and show for them. I want to rise again, they all pray me fall. I'm on a able, what must be enough for them attack. So suppose wish me dead, and if they see work, and we watch a back of them, I cheers, just for them strong. I don't care, they are gone scared, and if I violate and gun shot in your head. As I'm saying, never them scared, everything will be how you real when I say, blessing, I'm blessing, and I say, blessing, I'm blessing, oh we pray, put this tune on replay, oh DJ, so we say, blessing, I'm blessing, oh we say, blessing, I'm blessing, oh we pray. How do they, psycho do the beat, we pray, bye-bye. We pray, bye. Blessing pan blessing, now we say blessing pan blessing, oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay, oh DJ. So we say blessing pan blessing, oh we say blessing pan blessing, oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay, pan DJ. Play the big tune twice, vibes and vibes and vibes. When I fall I ride, no condition right. Man don't crush, man fight, you know me keep the flow time, just say me. Underrated body man so scary. Who the boy try kill can't date me. He date me not like just heavy, so heavy. I'ma do a thing scary. Blessing pan blessing, now we say blessing from blessing. Oh we pray, put this tune pan replay.
Blessing upon blessing, finesses on that one. Amazing video, man. Charlie, well, you're good, oh, you're good, you're really good, man. We've been enjoying the music all morning. Wow. How does it feel like performing on City TV?
Well, for City TV, it's more of like a beautiful thing because everybody's watching it.
Yeah.
There's attention coming from everywhere.
Yeah. How's the journey been?
Exactly,
You're
yeah.
super talented.
Thank you so much. It hasn't been easy. The journey has been tough, but then by the grace of God and my team as well, we're able to bring things out.
How'd you come by the name Phronesis?
Yeah, and the spelling too. Really
Is
unique.
it Greek or
It's actually a Christian name, meaning like ultimate wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, there's more to the name, so it's a Christian name, so the spelling and everything is inculcated there.
Wow. Wow. How many songs do you have so far?
Well, I have 4 songs out now. Yeah, it's everywhere, all social platforms, so you could check it out. And,
How long have you been in the industry?
Well, 19th was like 1 year for me. 19th July, yeah, it was a year, so.
Happy anniversary. Because when someone hears you perform, honestly, they will not think that it's just been a year because you're so talented and you're so different. You know, and we wish you the very best of luck. Where do we get your videos? Where do we buy your music? How do we support you get to where you need to be?
My songs are everywhere on all social platforms. The video is going to be on YouTube. As far as I've been premiered on City TV. After enough things are going, so they should check it out on all social platforms.
What's your YouTube channel so we can all go there and subscribe?
It's Phronesis GH. You check me out. Phronesis GH. PHRONESISGH.
Nice one. Nice one. So Blessings is the new one?
Blessings is the new one. Yeah.
I think the time is perfect.
Wow.
And I love the video. Where did you shoot it?
We did it in Cape Coast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everything was done in Cape Coast.
And I like the woke type of vibe that I get from you.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even gonna make comparisons. I'm not gonna do that.
It's like
thank you
telling a story, and I like that vibe. I like that vibe.
Kind of
Great. Yeah.
Thank you. We want to enjoy more of you, but guys. All month long, we've been showing you the submissions we got for Keyboard Idol, over 250 videos.
Wow.
And guess what? On August 1st, we get to see the top 20.
Yep.
I don't know what the judges have been up to, how they went about reaching the top 20, but so far, are you as excited as I am?
I am, and I'd hate to be in the shoes of any of the judges because obviously it must have been a very, very tough job
and
for
they'll take us
them.
on that journey with them.
Yeah.
So we get to really, I think I'll be playing judge at home, trying to figure out who are they going to select, who's going to make it, why would they make that decision?
Exactly. mean, the questions are going to pop up in your head, but then they are the judges.
Yes,
they know best.
They know best. So you don't want to miss it.
Yes, on the 1st of August, we get to see
top
20. Yes, and how, of course, the selection process was done more like a pre-audition. So yeah, it's going to be beautiful on the 1st of August, right here on City TV. So we'll get to see that. All these keyboard proteges working their magic on the keys, the black and white keys. Amazing stuff. Watch out for it on the 1st of August.
I can't wait. Just the 1st of August is actually on a weekend, so hopefully you will be at work, I'll be at work, and we'll be enjoying every bit of it. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Breakfast Daily. My name is Dziffa Ametam.
And my name is Tuffour Boateng.
And we're going to enjoy some great music, and I'm going to continue with my quinoa salad. Enjoy your day, guys.
We pray, bye bye. We pray, we pray, we pray, yeah. Blessing pan blessing, oh we say blessing pan blessing, oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay, oh DJ. So we say blessing pan blessing, we say blessing pan blessing, oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay for DJ. Play the big tune twice, vibes on vibes on vibes. When I fall, I rise, no condition right. Man don't cuss, man fight, you know me keep the flow tight, just save me. Underrated body man so scary. Who the boy try kill can dead me? He did me not like just save me so heavy. I may do a thing scary. Blessing and blessing, we say blessing and blessing. Oh we pray, put this tune pan replay. Oh DJ, so we say blessing and blessing, we say blessing and blessing. Oh we pray, put this tune pan replay. Oh DJ, we tell him free we just free we free we, free we just free we free we, free me just free me free me, free me just free me free me. When you them, and if you make the money clean so them every rich. Hope you buy a better car and get a better dish. We just a wish for life, cause that's all we need. Privilege of God for peace, for all me enemies. Head a chat in the street, but not tea, only for them walk off for me. What do them, what they want from me? Come and I see, full of bag of chat, gunshot for them. I want me rise again, them will pray me fall. My man able must be enough for them attack. So Supan wish me dead, a place me walk off, you watch a back of them a cheat, just very much strong. I will not care, never gone scared. Traffic violate and gunshot in your head. As some say, never them scared. Everything will be a year when I say blessing pan blessing. We say blessing pan blessing. Oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay. Whoa, say blessing on blessing. Blessing on blessing. We pray. Put this tune pan replay. How do they eat? Premier space. Oh, bye bye. Tell him say blessing pan blessing. Oh we say blessing pan blessing. Oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay. DJ, we say that it's blessing and blessing. Yeah, blessing and blessing. Oh we pray. Put this tune pan replay. Yeah, yeah.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a news search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the Go TV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
Many doctors are now regularly testing patients to see if they have the coronavirus, and if confirmed, health officials might try to trace other people the patient may have come in contact with. In the best case scenario, those people are also tested, as are the people they may have come in contact with. It's a testing and tracing cycle that is all too familiar to health workers. And while all of this is going on, scientists worldwide are working on a COVID-19 vaccine. And all of these steps are intricate, and the high-stakes nature of each step is essential to saving lives. This is the focus of our show today: testing, tracing, and the race to develop a coronavirus vaccine. But what is at stake for Africans, and how do long-standing stigmas about diseases and vaccines impact how we see the ongoing work to create a vaccine for the coronavirus? Hello, I'm Ayandeng Bior, and we begin in South Africa, where a biotech firm is seeking to plug a gap in the country's coronavirus testing capacity, which is undermining efforts to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Reuters journalist Akua reports.
It's the African country hit hardest by COVID-19, and a shortfall in testing capacity has further undermined South Africa's response to the pandemic. But in a laboratory in Johannesburg, scientists are packing up test kits in a bid to plug the gap. Cape Biotechnologies, led by Chief Executive Daniel Ndima, says it plans to roll out
that because of the pandemic, our country will struggle to get the test kits. So we said to ourselves that we need to stop doing what we were doing and just work on COVID-19.
The WHO has warned that a shortage of test kits is a challenge for the continent, and in South Africa, the situation is exacerbated by a weak rand. That's meant spending more on imports, further straining an already stretched budget. With 100,000 confirmed cases already, the government is expecting an escalation ahead of an anticipated peak towards the end of the summer, especially in crowded townships. As of the end of May, there was a backlog of over 96,000 unprocessed specimens awaiting testing, according to the Health Ministry. But at 5,000 kits a day, Cape Bio, which was spun out of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in 2018, could meet approximately a tenth of South Africa's current daily testing rate.
We are able to achieve results faster.
Ndima also says Cape Bio's test kits produce results quicker than those being imported, within 2 hours compared to 4 to 5 hours. He added that Cape Bio, with a team of 11, will supply the kits to the government, but is also seeing demand from other companies globally.
From South Africa, we go to Burundi, where the country's new president is declaring the COVID-19 virus the country's biggest enemy. It's a major reversal for a nation that has largely ignored the highly contagious disease. My co-host Ariane Itangishaka has the details.
Former President Pierre Nkurunziza, who died suddenly last month, and current President Evariste Ndayishimiye had until now overlooked the gravity of the coronavirus pandemic. Burundi had a full-blown campaign ahead of its May presidential election, but unlike its neighbors, which had imposed lockdowns and curfews, had taken a few steps to combat the spread of the virus. However, now President Ndayishimiye is considering COVID-19 a serious threat.
I confirm that the coronavirus pandemic is the greatest enemy of the Burundians because I see that all the people are afraid of this pandemic.
Burundi has fewer than 10 technicians capable of carrying out the test for the virus, according to AFP. The country is reporting 191 coronavirus infections and 1 death, according to Johns Hopkins University. Speaking after the swearing in of his new government in parliament, Ndayishimiye says COVID-19 is a huge priority for this administration.
From now on, we are starting a campaign against the pandemic in Burundi under the theme, I heal, I don't contract, I don't contaminate.
Ndayishimiye is calling on citizens to strictly respect all preventative measures. He reminded citizens that coronavirus tests are free and treatment is free, warning those who did not get tested when they had symptoms. Ndayishimiye promised testing centers will be installed and testing campaigns launched across the country. A high-ranking health ministry officials told AFP on conditions of anonymity that reversal comes after the World Bank donated $5 million last month to help Burundi fight the virus. At the moment, Burundi has more than 7 testing locations, which includes government and private hospitals as well as temporary regional testing sites. Now let's turn to Nigeria. More positive news on testing as the cases of the coronavirus continues to spread. The country's Center for Disease Control is fighting back with aggressive testing. The NCDC says it aims to test millions of people in the coming months. To achieve this, it is expanding its workforce and collaborations with the private sector players. Timothy Abwezu reports from Abuja.
An extraction process for COVID-19 samples ongoing at the National Reference Laboratory in Abuja, one of many labs set up across the country to test for the coronavirus. In this room, lead virologist Adama Ahmed and her team of medical laboratory scientists prepare samples before they're transferred into the machines for testing.
So we are having 2 shifts now, day shift and night shift, to make sure that testing for COVID-19 is continuous. As they have, embarked into, community screening now, a lot of samples are coming into the laboratories.
Nigeria was among countries in Africa that initially recorded low COVID-19 testing. In May, when President Muhammadu Buhari relaxed for 5